You've been asking for this. So here is a Bitcoin update for the summer of 2025. Welcome. My name is Lydia Griffith. This is the Feng Shui and Bazi Chinese Astrology channel. And on this channel, I often like to read the charts of famous people, countries, sometimes even currency, because I think it helps us to better understand our own lives and our own astrology. So if this sparks interest for you, please subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. I just finished watching, and I'll put a link to this first video I did that was back in the very beginning of April. And now we're at the very beginning of June. June is about to start tomorrow. Today, this day I'm filming, is a triple snake day. Wow, wow, wow. So much has happened since April. And Bitcoin has rallied and come up as I predicted. It went down in April, like I said it would, and it came back, rallied really well. And it's doing really good, I think, in the month of May. And I think that, as I was saying in that previous video, the month of May showed us the year. And in a lot of ways, I think we can look at the past 4 weeks and identify there are those dip moments where things go down. Somebody important says something and everything goes kafooey. Prices go down, people buy more, and it goes back up. So anyway, I hope that you've been able to take advantage and enjoy the rallying, and it goes down, grabbing what you can, because it is going to be, I think, the future of worldwide currency in the near future. So let's take a look at this. I want to just peel back from that first video, because I think in this day and time that we're in, it's a lot easier and more digestible to just look at the season we're in. So we're just walking into summer. Let's take a look at June, July, and August specifically. I think this is going to be an incredible time. So I also am going to put a link to a website I found called yourastrogenes.com. They have a time for Bitcoin's birth, which I have had, and they concurred January 3rd, 2009, which is not yet the month of January, and it is not yet the month or the year 2009. So according to the 4 pillars, which is Bazi Chinese Astrology, the year is still the year of the rat, and the month is still the month of the rat. We're going to break down those 4 pillars. The time is 1815. And so we're looking at these 4 pillars. So Bitcoin is born, established in the year of a Yang Earth rat, the month of Yang Wood rat, the day of Yang Earth monkey, the hour of Yin metal rooster. That's double Yin metal. Okay. I mentioned also before, you have Yang Earth as the day pillar, a mighty mountain. The monkey is Yang metal, the ore inside the mountain. This is a beautiful day pillar. And within the monkey is the Yang Earth with a little Yang water. And what is very important in whether it's currency or a business or a person's chart is to have your day element rooted in your day pillar. It shows longevity. It shows a longer life than somebody who does not have that element rooted in the branches of the chart. You're far more likely to have an early demise and not live as long. 2 things keep a business going, or a person alive. That is the pattern being broken, or the day master element gives up. All right. So one of the ways that a day master element would give up is it's not rooted and it is too embattled. Then if the pattern is broken, for instance, this is born in the month of the rat, which is yin water. So what would tank that, what would challenge that, would be an overwhelming amount of an opposite element, which I would say in this instance would be earth or fire. Earth is what earth controls water, and fire is what water controls. But both of those can be a draining influence. So anyway, when we look at the elemental composition, we are looking at the 5 elements. This is a yang earth coin. And that would be you, or it would be a business. But for this situation, we're talking about coin, about currency. Is yang earth. It is balanced at 23%. Metal is very strongly balanced at 28%. That is what gives this entity the motivation to be actualized in the world, to manifest itself into being, to take action. Water is strong, and that is its ability to take that action and manifest it into tangible goods. So it's like this is an active thing that creates strong revenue, good returns. What rules it is wood. That is slightly weak at 14%. And because there's so much water, I'm not worried about the wood. What I'm worried about is the fact that this chart has no fire. In business, not in personal charts, not in human charts, but in business, competition is a good thing. It drives a business. It pushes you. If you don't have competition, sometimes you get complacent. Sometimes you get so big because there's no competition, you fall apart because things can only expand so far. So for this situation, what we need for fire is wood as the helpful god that is motivating it. You can't just throw into an empty bowl this need of fire without feeding it with wood. So when fire is present, and it'd be an interesting thing for someone to go back and check this, like through the history of Bitcoin since 2009, to go back and check when did it rally and when did it fall? Because I guarantee when the presence of fire is there, it goes up. Now, I'm going to talk a little more about the luck cycles, something I didn't mention in the last video. Very early on, so this was launched in January 2009, and by July, by July 2nd, 2009, which technically was the month of the horse, because that's before the change of the month. The month in the Chinese calendar changes usually around the 5th. So that's an interesting thing to note. So anyway, the first luck cycle was in its infancy, right? So it just 7 months in, it goes through its first shift. Now what does that mean? It's pulling it away from its month. Your month is where in your infancy, a child is more associated with their parents than their own innate sovereign self. They're reliant on them. Now, in a person's chart, there can be situations in which in your infancy, you are separated from that. And very early on are an independent little person on the planet, even if you're only a few months, like a number of months old. And usually that comes with like a mom who has postpartum depression, or a divorce, or a major move, or you're sick as an infant. All kinds of different situations. Fascinating that mark. It is a very big deal, the day or the time frame in which that first luck cycle happens. So we move away from being associated with its parent, its origin, who launched this. It moves away from that yang wood rat, which is good because that is very cold. That's a cold water influence, even though that yang wood is there to launch it, to start it. But it needs the fire. The fire is not here in this first luck cycle. Now, I'm sure it was growing, but it needed those different years to bring in the fire. You can think back, 2013 was the last year of a snake. 2014 was the last year of a horse. Those are all years where we had fire. And I'm sure there were years that the stem was fire sitting on top of the zodiac animals. Anyway, suffice it to say, within that first decade, 2009 to 2019, we have a yin wood ox. This is like the dry grass of wintertime. And there is a semi-water trio with this rat, with the rats in this Bazi chart and this luck cycle of the ox. So we've got the reinforcement of its own self as it is identifying itself. There's a lot of loss within this, but it's finding itself. There's a lot of changing parts present in here. But that water trio, this was really struggling in the beginning. So then we get to 2019, the current luck cycle it's in. Boom, boom, and let's see, 2019 was a year of a pig. And if memory serves me, it was a yin fire pig. Bonus points for me if I got that right, my gracious. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I'm right. But so you're coming in with a yang fire tiger. I got double checks on this because this is exactly what you need. And when you have a luck cycle that gives you the useful God, the helpful God combo, this is a win-win. If I see this in your Bazi chart, I'm going to be like, whoa, this is an awesome time, and then fill in the blanks, depending on where it lands in your chart. If you've never had your Bazi Chinese astrology read, it is a fascinating deep dive into who you are, what your life is all about, everything from your health, your wealth, your relationships, where you currently are in your life, including this year and going forward. So there's a links below if you want a virtual reading, a written reading, a couples reading, all the things. So this is amazing. And like I said, competition is great because the tiger is the is in conflict with the day master of the monkey. It is the monkey as yang metal cutting the tiger's wood. Now, normally I would say, oh no, that doesn't look good if it was a person, but this isn't a person. So in this instance, we have competition. That yang fire sitting on top is the motivating force in all of this. There is backing. There is change, and it's going to be volatile, but it's finding itself. It's rooted in itself. There is a stability even within the volatility of up and down. That yang fire is amazing. Now, this gets interesting because this year of the snake, 2025, Yin Wood snake is forming a semi-metal trio with the rooster in the hour. This is good. This is giving it motivation, action. It's keeping this Bitcoin very active in the market. That is a constant pulse throughout the year, which is great. There's a semi-fire penalty this year with the snake and the day master of the monkey, and the luck cycle of the tiger makes it a full fire penalty, which would typically suggest loss and devastating loss at that, except that fire is the useful god in this story. Therefore, there is probably going to be in the volatility extremes. The penalty, I think, is going to be something where when it drops, it's like, whoa, but then it's going to bounce back. This is a year that you've got to just have faith, because people are playing with the market, which I think technically should be illegal. When you tank markets, tell your friends, they all go out and buy everything low, and then you rally it back up. I don't know. But that's the nature of what we're in right now. Let's take advantage of it. The lows are going to be super low. The highs are going to be super high. Now, when we went into 2025, I mentioned that the stems on top of the branches for the months are in opposition. So as we wrap up this video, I'm going to now talk about specifically June, July, and August. June is one of those months. It is a yang water horse. So you've got a waterfall on top of a little bonfire. Tiny, tiny little campfire. Not a bonfire, just a little campfire. And the year of the snake. And I think what we're going to see with this horse coming in is, along with that snake, is there is going to be that polishing of the metal. I think we're going to really see things start to rally. And we've seen that with the month of the snake that we had in May. I think we're going to continue to see things come up in the month of the horse. The thing is that water bothers me. It just bothers me because it is so big. It's going to be an interesting thing to see how it plays out. It's a very steamy month. And again, people are playing with this. They're playing with the markets. So if you're one of those people that's invested in Bitcoin and looks at a lot of videos every day, you're going to drive yourself bonkers, because it's not going to always make sense. You've got to trust that it's going to rise and it's going to do what we need it to do. You know, that's why we invest in things, is to make money. It's going to make us money. It's just you've got to be patient with the process, because again, people are messing around with it. We get into the month of July. And I think what's going on with July is the month of a yin water sheep. Now this gets interesting because now the water is a lesser influence. It's more misty than a rain, like a downpour. And with that, the sheep is yin earth with a little fire and a little wood. And with the combination of, this is the interesting thing. So the sheep in July is harming the rats in this Bazi chart, which harms water, which is a great thing. Water is being controlled in this scenario, very much like how the sand at the beach absorbs the water as it flows in and you see it disappear. All right, so there is that element. And I think also this is a nobleman star for this Bazi chart, meaning there is added protection here. Something swoops in and saves the day. I think that we're going to see this rally. I also am pretty sure that there's, with the sheep and the snake, there could be, I think that forms a semi-fire trio. I think that there's going to be a lot of this rise in May into June, into July. August is tricky. It's a yang wood monkey. The monkey is competition for the day master of the monkey, which could be interesting. It could break something open. And it also magnifies that fire penalty that's in this chart for the year. So it could be a really harsh course correction in August. Yeah, we really need to have that consistent fire. And again, it's there for the year, but can the year be enough when a month comes in and goes throwing things around? And just foreshadowing, I think that we're going to see a course correction in August and September. And then you're going to see it coming back strong in the fall, in October. So ride the good wave. There's going to be a nice wave. We're in it now, and I think it's going to continue through most of the summer. But we hit August, I think there could be a real serious course correction. So that's what I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please keep your comments kind and respectful. And until next time, please be well.